Boker Tov, good morning and Shabbat Shalom. It's the Red, White, and Blue Jew, a.k.a. Jake Donnelly, and today we need to talk about that 71,000 lie that's been making the rounds because Haaretz, which is the New York Times of Israel, Haaretz put out an article that said the IDF agrees with the Hamas-run Gaza Ministry of Health number that the IDF has killed 71,000 Palestinians in the Israel-Gaza war. Now, there are two main issues with this. One, the IDF does not agree with it. It took 24 hours, and the IDF, you have to do a better job of this. But it took about 24 hours for the IDF to go, we do not agree with that number. And just like the New York Times, Haaretz is publishing things that are simply not true and passing them off as such. And then that allowed people like Piers and Anna Kasparian and Scott Horton and Cenk Uygur and all the dumbasses that you would come to expect to take the Hamas-run Gaza Ministry of Health numbers and say, see, we were right about this. We've had it right the entire time, and it's because they can't read past the headline. Again, the IDF said, no, those numbers aren't right. And then two, and more importantly, the entire point is those numbers change constantly, not from the IDF, but from the Gaza Ministry of Health. Just back in May 2024, they were keeping track of the numbers, and in a span of 2 days, the Gaza Ministry of Health halved the number of women and children that were killed in this war. The numbers are not accurate because they never say who is actually dead. How many men, how many women, how many children, and more importantly, what was the cause of that death? There is no such thing as friendly fire. In those statistics, there is literally no distinction between civilian and combatant. And remember, if we go all the way back to October 7, 2023, 6,000 Palestinians invaded Israel, and a third of those were quote-unquote civilians. But that 71,000 number doesn't make a distinction between civilian and combatant. So it's just 71,000 dead. And okay, so if you're going to take those numbers, that still means that Israel has the best ratio of civilian to combatant death in any war in history, especially an urban warfare war where one side tried to increase the number of casualties, civilian casualties, as much as possible as part of their defensive plan. And it was still, at worst by the IDF, 1.45 to 1. So that 71,000 number, if it is true, still shows that the IDF has fought the most moral war of all time. But again, stop taking the actual word of the terrorists themselves, you silly, dangerous terrorist supporters. This is the Red, White, and Blue Jew, a.k.a. Jake Donnelly, saying, until next time, folks, Shabbat Shalom, and see ya.